Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. So I get questions like every single day about heat resistant tape and what brands I use, what brands I like, and have I ever heard of like common issues with heat resistant tape. So let's go over, I'm going to talk about 6 different brands that I personally like. At the end, we'll talk about the brands I use and why. But let's talk about common issues with heat resistant tape. So a few common issues I hear. It's not very sticky when you use it and try to put your sublimation print on your surface. Number 2 is that it leaves some kind of residue or some of the color, especially yellow. Heat resistant tape from Amazon, I hear this almost every single day, leaves yellow like on your mugs. So that's the second problem I hear of. And then the third problem I hear from people is that they buy this heat resistant tape and then they can't find a tape dispenser to actually put it in or one they like. So let's cover all of those issues. So the first and second issue about it not being sticky or leaving a residue or some of the color transferring to your blank, that's generally because it's a really poor quality tape. I don't necessarily recommend those brands on Amazon, and that is why. You never know what you're gonna get. So the brands that I'm testing today, we're going to test them on a shirt, a mouse pad, a ceramic mug, and a steel tumbler. So you can see that they work in all of those cases. They all stick to those surfaces and don't leave a residue, but I want you to see for yourself. So let's take a look at the 6 brands we're going to test. And as always, I'll leave links for everything I'm going to use in the description below. If you are watching on computer, hit show more. If you're watching on mobile, swipe up. Let's take a look at those brands. So here are the heat tapes that we're going to look at. First is the PYD Live thermal tape. Looks like this. I have a roll on this tape dispenser. So there are 2 different sizes when you're talking about heat resistant tape. One is the large size and needs this large tape dispenser. The other are several brands that can use a regular office tape dispenser, and I will say you will want a tape dispenser that's weighted at the bottom. So be sure to look for that when you're looking for a regular office tape dispenser if you go with one of these brands. So PYD Live first, and that's large. Artesprix is our second brand. Next brand is Sub. Again, it's a large diameter. This one has the benefit, not all of these do, of coming in different widths. So there's like a 6, an 8, and a 12 here that I have. So this could be beneficial if you want different widths of tape. Caesar has a brand that's red. Cricut has a brand that's also blue like the PYD Live, but however, it is the small diameter, so it fits the regular tape dispenser, as does the Caesar. And then this last one over here is from Conde. And so I wanted to try a couple of different of the yellow tapes. A lot of people have trouble with the yellow tapes when they order them off Amazon, so I wanted to try a couple different brands of that. So I'm going to try these on some projects, see which ones work well, and make sure they don't leave any residue or discoloration on the surface of our projects. So let's take a look at the projects I did. First of all, here are all the tapes tested on a 93% polyester shirt. This first one is PYD Live. No residue on the shirt, and it's stuck really, really well. This next one is Artesprix. Again, no residue on the shirt, and it's stuck well. Then we have the Sub USA. I don't see any yellow residue on the shirt, and it's stuck really well. Caesar. Once again, no residue and stuck well. The Cricut brand. Stuck well and no residue. And the Conde yellow tape, no residue, and it stuck really well. So I think all of these are equivalent as far as like how well they stick, but I do want to test them on some more surfaces and make sure we're not seeing any residue or discoloration on any of these on alternate surfaces. So let's take a look at a few more projects. So next up we have a mouse pad, and I have all the brands of heat tape along this line of my sublimation print. So I'm going to peel this back and we'll take a look at if any of these left any residue. So the first one is the PYD Live. Then we have the Artesprix, the Sub, the Caesar, the Cricut, and finally the Conde. and everything looks really good. I don't see any residue left by any of the tape brands, and I am in love with this new mouse pad. All right, so now let's take a look at some hard surfaces. So next I pressed a ceramic mug as well as a metal tumbler just to see how these tapes would react on each of those. So first of all, on this one is the PYD Life, and then the InoSub, the Caesar, and the Artesprix. So all of those, I don't see any residue left on my mug at all. So I'm going to flip this over, and this is the Cricut and the Conde brand. And once again, everything looks really great. So they do work great on a ceramic mug as well, all of the brands. So then here's this metal tumbler. This is the PYD Life brand, the Artesprix, the Caesar, and finally the InoSub across the top. And everything looks great there. Flipping it over, and I have the Conde in a couple of different places and the Cricut brand in a few different places. So once again, everything looks amazing with those brands on the metal tumbler as well. So let's talk about how to pick a heat-resistant tape brand. Okay, so now you see 6 brands that you like. I talked a little bit about the tape dispensers. So if you like just these small, regular tape dispenser, little office tape dispenser, I do recommend something with some weight. I will link to this little guy below. It's super inexpensive. So you have 3 options with just a regular tape dispenser. We have Artesprix, Caesar, and Cricut. So my recommendation would be to get the one that's on sale, actually. They are all 3 amazing tapes. I use all 3 of these regularly, so I can really say that these are really great heat-resistant tapes, and you can't go wrong with those. Now, if you are willing to invest in the larger tape dispenser, and the tape dispenser itself will be an investment, that's something I hear from a lot of people, that they don't want to invest in this, but if you do, the 3 options I tested for it were the PYD Life, which is in the tape dispenser, the InoSub, which came in all those different widths, which I did like, and the Conde, which I think also comes in the different widths. Now, I would also say those were basically equivalent. I would get whatever one's on sale. I'll link to all 3 of those below as well. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of the 6. What do I use most often? Most often I use the Artesprix or the Cricut. You will see this green tape or this blue tape in almost every single video I do. I experiment with some of the other ones occasionally. Personally, I like the cute little small tape dispenser. If you don't have a ton of room, it's definitely the way to go. I like that they fit in these tape dispensers. I don't have to buy anything special. I like how well they stick, and I like how well they come off of my projects. So I would say I use these most often, and basically pick up the one that's on sale, either way, Cricut or Artesprix. And every single time someone messages me and says that their yellow heat-resistant tape has transferred to their mug and left yellow squares all over their mug, I tell them to buy the Artesprix or the Cricut and remake their mug. So that's something that I have not found. It's something that will remove those tape marks. So if you've purchased that yellow tape off Amazon and it's leaving marks all over your mug or your surface, I have not found anything to remove those marks. So in my opinion, those mugs are ruined. If you have a solution for removing those tape marks, please, please, please leave it in the comment section below. I'll definitely test it in a future video just to help those people that get into that issue later on down the road and have the heat-resistant tape leaving a mark. So hopefully this helps you pick your favorite heat-resistant tape. I would say start with the brand that you particularly like from this video, maybe one that's on sale, see if you like it. And I do think it is going to come down to a personal preference for you. So which one do you really like to use? And maybe it's like, I like all of them, then pick the one that's on sale for the week, or pick the one with the big dispenser or little tape dispenser, depending on which one you have. So hopefully this helps you pick a heat-resistant tape that works for your sublimation, infusible ink, HTV crafts, whatever you're using it for. So thank you so much for joining me today. If this video helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've covered, feel free to drop down in the comment section, ask away. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos like this every week and you don't want to miss any of those. Thank y'all so much for joining me and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.